So today's plan is simple. One shot kill our opponents with 20 damage straight to their face. Oil counters seem pretty broken in this version of the deck. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm playing a sweet combo I've been having tons of fun with today, in Standard, on the ladder, basically with just new cards. But before we get going, I want to thank everyone for their support for this channel, and if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button below to help support the channel, and you won't miss out on future combos and future videos. But onto this deck, and it's a Gruul Oil combo centering around two specific cards. Firstly, we have Filigree Sylex. It's a 2-drop artifact that lets you tap to add an oil counter, tap and sack to destroy all non-land permanents with mana value equal to the amount of oil counters on it, or tap, sack and remove 10 oil counters from any permanents you control to do 10 damage to any target. It is this effect that we are going to abuse here because we're pairing it with Solphim, Mayhem, Dominus. It's a 5/4 creature for 4 that essentially doubles all non-creature damage an opponent or a permanent an opponent would receive. Basically, sack your Sylex for 20 damage in one go. The great thing here is that your opponent will not see this coming, as Solphim is ideally played just prior to activating the Sylex for the kill. So to get 10 oil counters on your permanents isn't actually that hard, I found, but you do have to play a few weird cards. The best and quickest way though is with Monumental Facade, a land that ETBs with 2 oil counters, and you may remove an oil counter to put an oil counter somewhere else if needed. But this card is sweet here as it can rarely be targeted, essentially safely giving you 2 oil counters. Creature wise, I've got Armored Scrapgorger. It's a 2-cost mana dork that can exile cards from graveyards and put an oil counter on it. Evolving Adaptive that gains an oil counter each time a creature with power or toughness greater to its power and toughness ETB. We've got Vindictive Flamestoker, a one-off here, but it's a 1/2 that gains an oil counter each time you cast a non-creature spell. But later in the game, if you need to, you can pay 7 to discard your hand and draw 4 new cards. This cost is reduced for each oil counter on it. I'm playing Migloz Maze Crusher. It's a pretty amazing 4/4 for just 3 mana that ETBs with 5 counters on it. You can remove counters to a variety of things, but it's here for the oil counters mainly. And non-creature wise, I'm using Incubation Sac. It's a 1-drop artifact that ETBs with 3 oil counters, and for 4 mana, you can tap it, remove an oil counter, and create a 3/3 golem. It's not a very good card, but in a combo deck like this, it's actually pretty perfect. So all in all, you can actually combo off here on turn 4 if the stars align perfectly. But I do have 2 other plans in case you have to find another way to win. I'm using Urabrask's Forge. I love this card as it's a 3-drop artifact that says at the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on it and create an X1 Phyrexian Horror creature token with trample, where X is the amount of oil counters on it. This card played pretty early just slowly whittles your opponent's life total down, and if they get their life under 10, the Sylex can just one-shot kill them without needing a combo to do so. The other card is All Will Be One. Again, a plan B in the deck, but paired with Solphim works a treat. It says whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, you can do that much damage to another target. It's great with Planeswalkers, but in this oil deck, it works pretty well too. Apart from that, we've got Fables, Lightning Strikes, and Voltage Surges. These proliferate, so they do well in this deck as well. I've got 25 lands, and that's the combo deck. I am very impressed with this one. I won a lot of games without the combo and with it too. I don't think my opponents always knew what was happening. It's a ton of fun to play, so have a watch and let me know of any changes you might make in this sweet deck. Alright, on the draw here, I mean, it's not the greatest hand in the world, but I don't think I can turn down 3 Solphims, so we'll keep this one. Any land is going to be nice to play this Forge on turn 3, but... well, there's a Copperline Gorge, excellent. One of the new fast lands, no turn 1 play for us, but that is okay. I mean, there is our turn 1 play. A little bit annoying, but we'll play the Sylex here to get some oil counters going. Opponent on the Dimir deck, it seems, and there's Experimental Augury. So, presumably a poison proliferate deck here. So I'm pretty glad that this Sylex resolved. But if we can start getting this going, then that should help us out. Really hoping that the Forge resolves as well. Okay, Jace, that's perfect. I mean, it's a very good card, but I'm pretty happy to see that and not them holding open mana. So they're going to mill us 3 cards. Fine by me. Jason 1 loyalty. I mean, we're going to be able to kill that this turn. So we draw our land. We'll play the forest here to kind of hide a little bit what we're doing. But yeah, this creates a 1-1. And we can kill Jace. I doubt they saw that coming, but we are playing red and green, so they needed to have expected maybe a hasty creature or a burn spell, but we've started the oil counters going here a little bit. And yeah, gonna keep remembering to put the oil counter on. And there is an incubation sac. Alright. So, I mean, our hand's pretty good here. We've got Evolve and Adaptive. That's going to enter with an oil counter. Play that in pre-combat because the 2-1 will enter the battlefield. Okay, opponent has cut down. Fair enough. But they're going to take 2 from the Forge here. So yeah, this Forge, I mean, early on, like right now, it's just not doing much. But give it 4 or 5 turns. These are going to be huge creatures every turn. And if opponent wants to use removal, that's going to be good for us, but they don't. They take 2. And down comes the Incubation Sac. So this is going to come out with 3 oil counters on it. So we're already looking at a lethal turn next turn. Got to be a little bit careful of counter magic. So we've got 9 oil counters here. The Sylex is going to make a 10th. Kind of want the opponent to tap out here. They play their Tainted Indulgence. I guess even if they don't, we've got 3 Solphins. So if they want to start countering our Solphins, that's fine by me. Don't forget to put the oil counter on the Sylex here. And there's a Fable. Alright, well, we'll go to combat first and see if they want to do anything about the 3-1 and hopefully tap themselves out by doing that. They can't keep taking damage like this. I guess if they have any kind of way to deal with our artifacts, we would have regretted not Solphining pre-combat, but we'll play this now. We'll see if the opponent can see what's going on. See if this resolves. Okay, make disappear, fair enough. If we can get them under 10 life, then the Sylex can just win on its own anyway, so pretty sure that we can do something next turn here. Tainted Indulgence for our opponent. And there's Kaito. Creates a ninja. And yeah, we should have lethal. 2 different ways here. I'm just going to go for the fancy way here. Play our Solphim and do 20 damage straight to our opponent. But yeah, the Urabrask's Forge would have created a creature that would have taken the opponent underneath 10 life, and we could have just killed them with the Sylex anyway, but not a problem. We get to combo off there. Nice. Alright, on the draw, hand is annoying to say the least. I would love to find a untapped green mana on our draw step here. Okay, nice. We do find one, so we'll play this adaptive. Opponent with a swamp. The adaptive survives. So Mishra's Foundry for our opponent as well, so mono black probably. Just attack first. See what they want to do. See if they take the 1. They do. Alright, well, we have a Sylex here to follow up with. Nice, and we can start getting the counters going on this. So we've got Migloz in our hand. We just want to hit a couple of land drops, and yeah, I mean, our hand is pretty nice. There's Lily. It's going to make us sacrifice our adaptive. That's fine by me. Forge would be nice now to attack down the Lily. Scrapgorger. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, Scrapgorger is a way to get mana. Not necessarily expecting it to survive this turn. And Lily is more than likely going to want us to discard a card here. We'll have to get rid of maybe Orby1, as that is our plan B card, and I think we might have a plan A win coming on, as long as we can skirt our opponent's instant speed spells, as they haven't played a creature, as we do find a mana there. So We could play All Be One if we wanted to right now. I mean, this is a tricky situation. Don't really want to play Migloz right here in case the opponent removes it. I kind of want to play there when we have enough counters going. Solphim is probably the best bet here, as if the opponent wants to kill it with a normal kill spell, we can use the Scrapgorger to generate some mana, and then we can make it indestructible. We will discard 2 of our cards in our hand. But last turn they didn't up their Liliana, so they can't make us sacrifice one of our creatures here. So a bit of a slower game here, but not sure what the opponent's playing. I think one of the worst things with this deck is if the opponent starts gaining life, because the 20 damage won't be enough to kill them necessarily. So I don't really want to see a Shelly right now. And they finally make us discard a card. Okay, well, we'll discard All Be One here. I hope they don't target our Solphim, because I really don't want to get rid of these 2 cards in my hand. White Sun's Twilight. Alright, so they're a white deck as well. Okay, they're missing white mana. But I mean, yeah. Not really sure what we're up against, whether it's some kind of control deck. Got a couple of triggers here that we need to make sure that we do at the end of our turn to make sure we get some oil counters. So we're already up to 4. A Lightning Strike. So we actually have lethal here, I guess, don't we? Because we can just play Migloz, tap the Scrapgorger for mana, and then that would be the 10 counters. I've got to be a bit wary about removal spells in response, or them gaining life. So I'm going to just wait slightly. So we've got lethal on board. I'm just going to play this ultra safe and let the opponent play a spell, and we're going to respond to whatever they do. So we'll probably Lightning Strike the Lily here to use the mana that we are going to get from the Scrapgorger. So we'll get rid of this, and we will respond to anything the opponent does. But yeah, we've got enough oil counters here, but just want to be careful that they don't find a way to gain a couple of life points or react to the stack in a way that we don't actually do enough damage. Another thing we've got to be wary of is, because I'm not actually sure of all the new cards, if there's ways to remove counters and things. So opponent is going to Blast Zone, so I think that's the opening we need to kill them right now. I guess we could attack if we want to, but we've got 20 damage here by removing 10 oil counters, so that wasn't too bad. That wasn't too bad at all. We just had to be a little bit patient, but I don't think they thought they were going to die that turn there. Alright, on the play, and this hand is absolutely almost perfect. If that Evolving Adaptive was a Solphim, we would be in business here. We have to make a slight decision though, because if we want to try and find a way to win on turn 4, we can't cast the Adaptive on turn 1. We would have had to have cast the Facades, but not a problem. Casting the Adaptive is fine here. We don't have a Solphim anyway, so we'll get this down. We'll get the Sylex down, and try and maybe use the Fable to help us find a Solphim. Went with a Tenacious Underdog. I mean, pretty nice card, but not something I'm too concerned with right now. Okay, and there is a Karplusan Forest. So I think in this instance, we probably want to try and maximize our oil tokens, and we can do that by playing Fable. This will put a oil counter on the Adaptive. I'm not going to attack. We've still got our Facade, so there's still 2 oil counters in the bag. So it just shows how easy it is to get oil counters in this deck. So we could quite easily do 10 damage to our opponent. But they are holding open 3 open mana. We'll discard these 2 lands in our hand though. There's a Solphim. Okay, so we have the win next turn as long as the opponent can't interact with our spells. Thing is, we need to play a land if we want to play Solphim, because I'd want to be able to protect it as well. That would leave our creatures in our hand vulnerable to us having to discard them. So I'm just going for Migloz here. We'll see what the opponent wants to do. If they want to remove the Crusher, we're kind of close to getting our counters anyway without needing it. And we'll whack our opponent, see if we can drop their life total below 10 and win that way anyway. So opponent with Gixian Puppeteer. So that's perfect for us because that means we can just cast Solphim next turn and win this game. So this hasn't been too bad. We found a way to get there. So yeah, if they'd got rid of the Solphim, the Migloz, we would have still had enough counters. And yeah, we get to bit of overkill here. Remove the amount of remove 10 oil counters. Has to be exactly 10. And 20 damage to our opponent again. Nice. Alright then, on the draw here. Hand is okay. I mean, we don't have a Sylex, but we do have a turn 1 and turn 2 play. Opponent with a Mountain and a Swift Spear, fair enough. Pop us down to 19. Yeah, we'll play our adaptive here. Guess take a damage from our land. Gonna take a bit of damage from our lands if we don't find a green mana source soon either. Alright, Kemi's Flare, our adaptive. Okay, fair enough. Opponent is going to attack us. And we go down to 16. So we find another adaptive, okay. Well, I'm gonna want to play a creature here. I think the Scrapgorger is better here as it's just a blocker really, and at least it's a mana dork, so it'll allow us to get to our bigger spells quicker. Also, we can tap it for green mana next turn and play the adaptives without taking damage from our forest, because this damage from our lands here is going to add up against them on a red deck. Cemetery Gatekeep, they're not cards you see every day, and they exile our adaptive from our graveyard. So every time a creature spell is cast, I'm going to take 2 damage. Okay, well there's Solphim. I mean, Solphim's stats are 5/4, and I don't think there's many ways for a mono red deck to deal with Solphim in just one spell. So I think it might be safe just to play this, to be honest. Chunky 5/4. But this will open up some possibilities if we can start getting some of, maybe these all will be one down on the battlefield. Opponent with a Kamano, okay. There's a prowess trigger on the Swift Spear. So there's 2/2 power creatures. And they've got 1 mana open. Okay, and they're hovering over our Solphim. Okay, let's see if they want to attack. Our life total is pretty precarious, I think. Okay, they're still hovering over our Solphim. They're very interested in it. Probably check and see how we can make it indestructible. We don't have the mana to do so. I think this is no blocks. I really don't want to lose this creature. I wouldn't mind killing this Swift Spear, but we'll see. Okay, and okay, let's play with fire to our face. I guess they missed a point of damage there because they could have played with fired after first strike damage from the Gatekeeper. Okay, so see where we can go from here. 6 life though is pretty low. A couple of lightning strikes and we're a goner. But we have a lightning strike ourselves. I'm gonna just play that now. Get rid of this Gatekeeper. I can't take 2 damage from casting. Well, it'd be 3 damage if I tap the forest for casting these adaptives. Question is, do I cast the adaptive now or hold open a lightning strike? Get an attack with Solphim though. Get some damage going. Can't just sit around and not do that. And just pass our turn, I guess. So we can make Solphim indestructible if we need to, or we can lightning strike something if we need to do that as well. Here's a Fable. Okay, but they're tapped out, so they don't actually have any decent attacks here. Okay, I'm just going to kill this Swift Spear whilst we get the opportunity. Not something I want sticking around. I guess either of the creatures would have been fine to get rid of. Arguments say that we could have taken out the 2/2. But we find a mana, so we can either go for the adaptives here, we can make Solphim indestructible, or we can do the more interesting route and play All Will Be One. That will enable us to start doing some damage next turn. Get rid of this Swift Spear from the graveyard, get a counter on our Scrapgorger. No attacks here, unfortunately. I'd love to have done some damage there if we can. But we need to be slightly wary of burn spells. Gonna have to block this time though. Oh, well, they play a Fable pre-combat. They may have wanted just to wait and just show me that, made me think that they might have a Play with Fire in their hand, because I technically, I guess, have an easy block now without having to think about it. But had they not have done that, then I would have had to think about whether I want to block their creature or not. If they attack that, or they do, okay. Okay, well, we'll block one of their creatures. Go down to 4, which isn't dead. But can we find a way to clear the board here? We should be good. We can play an adaptive. That comes out with an oil counter, so that will do 1 damage to any target. Solphim will double that to 2 damage to any target. And if we use the Scrapgorger to tap for our mana, that will also get a counter. So yeah, we can kill both their creatures here by casting the adaptive using the Scrapgorger. We could also, if we wanted to, tap our Facade to move a counter from the Facade to one of our other creatures. That will also be a damage as well. Trying to see if there's anything better I can target than this etching. I think it's the safe bet is just to get rid of the etching, especially as we're on 4 life. But we'll take the opponent down to 10. But that is fine. So we've got a Reflection of Kikijiki in the way now. So we should have this game. We just got to... Okay, this Thundering Raiju. Well, I'm glad we got a blocker. I guess that's going to do a damage to our face if they put the counter on the Reflection, which they do. Okay. So, still not out of it. Okay, we'll cast our creature. I think what I should have done was attacked with Solphim first and seen if they took the damage. Because if they took the damage, then I think we could have just pinged them to death here. But went to kill the Reflection instead and just do 5 damage to their face. Cast the Flamestoker, which is another counter. So I don't know if I necessarily miss lethal. I don't know if they would have blocked with the 3/3. But yeah, I probably should have attacked pre-combat. No, casting these spells. But anyway, we've got them down to 1. We're still just a lightning strike away from dying here. So yeah, this all will be 1 card. Pretty nice card. And there's a Stormseeker. Game. Okay, game appears to crash. I'm going to quickly exit this and come back in as we're pretty close to winning this. Alright, I'm back. Please don't say I'm dead. Okay, right. Okay, well, we're back here. Opponent looks like they've given haste to the Reflection of Kikijiki. Okay. And they're attacking. So we have lethal next turn. We just got to not die now. And I don't think we can die. Or we're going to take a damage, go down to 2. We'll just throw a couple of things in front of their creatures here. And yeah, our facade can, what's another facade? We can just kill them with all be with one. All will be one. There we go. Got there in the end. All right, on the draw, hand is, it's a fair hand. Got our new Copperline Gorge in our hand here, fast land, which works pretty nice in this deck. So yeah, hand is okay. Okay, opponent mulligans, it seems, down to 5. Okay, so we'll drop our Gorge. Unfortunately, nothing else for us to do there. And they have an island as well. So we draw an adaptive, annoying card to draw, as I'd love to have had that last turn. So we could play the adaptive and then next turn play the Scrapgorger, and then the adaptive would get a counter, but I like the idea of getting our mana dork down. Opponent prologue to Phyresis. So draw a card, it gives us a poison counter. So we've got that first poison counter, and I guess they're just going to try and play a control game now to proliferate us up to 10. Alright, as we draw a land, I mean, probably not best playing a Solphim here. I think they'll just counter it and it's our game-winning card. So I guess we could play the adaptive. But yeah, our hand looks pretty bad at the moment. We'd love a Sylex. Start gaining some value over time. And we'll just pass our turn here. Guess we could play the adaptive, yeah. Maybe I should. But I didn't, and we'll see what they want to do. Okay, Serum Snare, so return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If that permanent had mana value 3 or more proliferate, 3 or less proliferate, okay. Which it does, so they put another poison counter on us. Yeah, no way for us to use our green mana there. Opponent finds another land. Okay, so there's a Sylex, good. Alright, well, we just got to make sure that we don't die to poison. So I think the best way to do that is to put the pressure on them. Now, there is a counter spell that counters something and costs 2 for us to pay for that. Unless we've got 3 poison counters, which we don't have at the moment. I'm just going to go for the adaptive and the Sylex here. I think if the opponent had a counter spell, they should have countered the Sylex there, but it doesn't look like they actually have. Maybe they're just playing draw spells. But with the Sylex there, we just can find a way to get to 10 oil counters and then throw Solphim down. So they're not necessarily going to know what's going on here. They might feel that we can do just 10 damage to them, but we're looking to do 20 instead as they tap down our adaptive. Okay, I mean, it's still going to get counters every time a creature ETBs on our end, so I don't really care about that. Just find another land, okay. I was hoping to find some more creatures, maybe a Migloz. Okay, well, anyway, the Scrapgorger triggers the adaptive there, so a couple more oil counters. So what are we up to now? 4, 5. Going to get a 6th off the Sylex here. Next turn, the Scrapgorger and the Sylex. Yeah, so we're not far off lethal. We need the opponent to tap out, I think. Okay, they're going to drown our Scrapgorger. Okay, well, that's going to set us back maybe a turn, but it is what it is. Rather than them do it to that than our Solphim. And yeah, pass our turn as we find another Facade. Alright, we are in business here. So next turn we should be able to win. So don't forget, when Solphim hits the battlefield, it's going to put a counter on the adaptive as well. So yeah, hopefully they tap out now. Would have been hybrid. They've only got 1 card left in their hand. So we're going to have 10 oil counters this turn if we play our Solphim. We definitely want to be playing that just before we activate the Sylex. There's Migloz, okay. Well, do we play Solphim now? I think we do. They've shown us that they don't actually have any... They haven't been countering our other things. My worry is that they have a removal spell for Solphim. So we'll drop this. We'll see if they see what's going on. There's the counter on the adaptive, okay. So we have our 10 counters here. I think we're just going to pass and we're just going to wait for them to... We're going to react to whatever they do. Okay, and they activate their land, and that is our window of opportunity here to kill them in one go. So I'm not sure if they saw that coming, but yeah, I think we had to wait. I think we had to just be careful there. But yeah, I really like that victory there against blue-black control deck.